Hello, everyone. Welcome to Straight Shooters, where you will get straight talk concerning our Christian walk, with host Earl Moats and me, Dorrine Davis. And our topic today will be on sin in the camp, the Whitehouse. Earl, how you doing?
I'm doing fine.
Good.
There's a scripture in Proverbs that I want to read to you. It's very short, and it touches on this, what we're talking about. It says, righteousness exalteth a nation, but sin is a reproach to any people. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice, but when the wicked rule, the people mourn. Now, when I talk, I have to talk about things that I know a little bit about, and some things that I see in my own life. And I want to talk just a little bit about America just before we go too far here. America is a nation that was founded upon Christian principles. We all know that. We know that on our money we've got in God we trust. We talk about one nation under God, which the founding fathers wanted us to understand that there was a sovereign power, and that was God. The leader of the whole world is God Almighty. Mm-hmm. We have Christian leaders. We have leaders that are not Christians. A lot of them are not Christians. There's an old story that saying that says that the fountain itself will not rise any higher than the fountain head, meaning that there is a head there and the water lies dormant until the head is turned on. And when the head rises, the water rises with it. So we have leaders that are in authority, and we have a tendency sometimes to follow those people. And whether they're in politics, whether they're in county government, state government, church government, on the job, wherever there are leaders, we have people who are following those people. And sometimes those people can lead us in a bad way. They can lead us astray. They can cause us to take the wrong path. So when we talk about sin being in the camp, we talk about people that do the wrong thing and bring judgment upon other people. And when Achan, who was the guy this particular, where I picked up this at, was sin in the camp, was Achan. They went in, when the children of Israel went into and they actually conquered Jericho. God put a commandment from Moses not to take anything out of that town, not to confiscate any of the money, any of the people, or anything. And so Achan goes in and he sees some gold bars laying around and a Babylonian garment that was beautiful. And he took those things and took them back to his tent. And so nobody knew anything about it. It was all quiet and nothing was said until the next day or two, a few days later, they decided to go up and take a place called Ai, a little town of just very few people. And they said, okay, we'll only need a couple of thousand men. We'll just go up and take that thing. They should have taken it, just walked in and taken it. Mm-hmm. They got beat half to death. They got slaughtered. And so Moses goes to God and asks God why that they could not take Ai. And God said, because there is sin in the camp. Mm-hmm. Somebody has done the wrong thing. Now, don't kid yourself, God knew who it was. Mm-hmm. But they started looking for this guy. And when they found him, they found the gold bars, they found the garment, they found some things he had taken. So according to their law, they took him and his whole family out and killed him. So when you have, now this was not the leadership sinning, but sometimes when we elect leaders, and I think Dorrine's going to touch on this too, but when we elect leaders, we say we wish we could elect a Christian minister into the White House, but that never happens. And the reason it doesn't is because, first of all, the Christians don't vote the right way, and secondly, what would he do when he got there? Mm-hmm. Because unless he has a following in behind him, the good old boys in the Senate and the House were all Christians, or a majority of Christians. What could he do? His hands would be tied. Go ahead.
Right. Could you elaborate on when you said Christians don't vote the right way? What do you mean by that?
Well, they vote their pocketbooks.
Mm-hmm.
They vote people that's going to give them something. Let me find there's something in the Bible about where that we serve people who give us gifts.
Mm-hmm.
And it says we corrupt ourselves because we're now obligated to those people who give us gifts.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the people in the United States of America, now this is the only country I can talk about because this is where I've lived all my life. I've only been in 3 countries besides the United States. And the only one I know anything about, I didn't know anything about them except how to move around in them. But in this country, we have leaders who sometimes, and in a great majority of the times, are evil people.
Yeah.
And by that I mean, if you think you're going to elect a Christian minister into the White House, that's just not going to happen. And,
Right.
and I wouldn't vote for him. And I'll tell you the reason I wouldn't is because exactly what I just said.
Yeah.
That he would not be able to do. They would destroy him.
Mm-hmm.
But if you could elect Christian senators and Christian House of Representatives to back this guy up. And people will talk a good game, Dorrine.
Mm-hmm. That's
They
true.
will tell you they go to church. They do the right
all
thing.
day.
They carry their Bible
Yeah.
around. They do their prayers. They light their candles. They do all of those things. But
The religious
inside,
acts.
see, what people don't know is Al Capone went to church just almost every time they had a mass.
Yeah.
Then he would go out and kill 5 people after he left the service. So going to church is not the story. So go ahead.
You know, this just hit me too, as you were saying that. And as a Christian leader, you know, he couldn't be in the White House because, see, he would end up serving. You can't serve 2 gods.
Right.
The White House the people would end up being his God because he would end up being a people pleaser and a back scratcher. You scratch my back and I'll scratch yours to make me look good and to grow bigger. You know, I've got to please the people. And the focus would get off of God instead of focusing on pleasing God and how he would lead him. He would end up being that people pleaser.
Again, he is serving the people who put him there.
Yes.
He is catering to his constituency.
Mm-hmm.
I can't say the word. Can't even get it out.
I'm sorry. I'm kind of passing that on to you, aren't I?
But anyway,
Sorry.
that's who they wind up serving because they gave them millions and millions and billions of dollars. We're living in a society where billionaires rule the world.
Mm-hmm.
People like George Soros and people like that, whatever you want to say, you know, any guy who's worth 50, 60 billion dollars, he can buy a judge. He can put people in wicked, evil people into positions as you see today in the district attorneys, the people in when we look at our society now and we see that the top law enforcement agency in the world, the FBI, is corrupted. Mm-hmm. Okay, so where do we go from there?
Everything is
I mean,
today. Yeah.
where do we go from there? Dorrine
Who do you trust? Who do you know? You know, who do you know that you can trust today?
Exactly. You hear a good rhetoric. You hear a good talk, and I can make you all kinds of promises. But the promises, they go. I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth because I'm gonna yield, because if somebody walks in who's given me $1 billion or $1 million, not $1 billion, but $1 million or $5 million to get elected, and he walks in and says, "I want this done," guess what? And if a lobbyist walks into your office and you're sitting there as a senator or House of Representatives and you're from the state of Tennessee and he says, I want this bill passed. Okay, this bill is coming up in your state and I want you to push this bill. And here's your $100,000 under the table in cash, which is not taxable. Mm-hmm. Okay, so when you got there, you might have been fairly honest. But it's awful hard to turn down because the pressure's on. The pressure's on. Once you get up there, you get in leadership. I don't care if it's in the. Well, let's even talk. We'll take it right down to the local church. You have politics being played in there, and Mr. I and Mr. U and little I and big.
Oh, it's everywhere. Yeah.
So that goes on all the time, and I blame. And you may not agree with me here, but I blame a great deal of the evil and stuff that's going on in this country. I take it right to the ministers. When I was a kid, and you're a lot younger than me, but you was a kid once too. When I was a kid, I went to church just about all the time. I went to Bible school. I went to Sunday school. I didn't know a whole lot was going on, but I went to church. And I've been in church as an adult all my life. But in those days, when I was a child and growing up in the church, you didn't dare say anything against the minister. He was like an angel standing up there.
He was their God.
And people would take him home and feed him fried chicken, and they would butter him up because they loved him and they believed what he said, and they believed in the church. They didn't see
him as a man. They had him high up on a pedestal.
Yeah. So today it's like a rock star.
Yeah.
You're
oh Lord.
You come out, you drive up in a limousine, and they roll out a red carpet, and you walk into your church on a red carpet, and you get inside.
Let me give you another example.
Yeah.
Okay, I was attending the same church that you were, and I was a guest speaker on a Saturday morning, and I got to tell you, my teaching was very good. It was so good that people just raved about it and were just so inspired from it, these women were. Now, I wasn't given the red carpet. I didn't receive any payment for that. But then you have an outsider coming in. They get the flowers, the gift baskets, and they get payment. What's wrong with that? Why aren't you supporting those who are within your body? Why are people outside of the body getting supported? Because they think that person is going to scratch their back, because vice versa.
And they're no threat to them.
And that's right. Yeah. They're no threat to them. They're no
threat to them. You bring in an outsider, and he just preaches like from another world, and everybody's just yelling and screaming and running to the altar and all of those things. But he's going to leave.
Yeah.
Okay. And he's no threat to you. But somebody in your own congregation get up there and start getting praise and accolades and everything. First thing you know, you're like David's wife. You start looking at him at the corner of your eye. You know, so that's why they didn't rave on you. Somebody might have, but it wasn't. But
the ladies, they all did, except for
but the leadership didn't.
The pastor's wife
say too much about it.
Yeah.
Okay, so politics there are the same as they are anywhere else. But what I say is that instead of promoting just good old-fashioned everyday gospel messages, you pick out a message that you know is going to titilize somebody, okay? And again, that scripture says, if you receive a gift from me, you're obligated to me. In other words, if I start laying gifts on you, all of a sudden you feel like, well, I got to cater to him. You know what I'm saying? So,
yes.
And that's not in the church. That's anywhere.
That's anywhere.
And politics are the same on every level. Okay, it doesn't change there. And evil is the same on every level. I know you're going to probably give some. Think about our glorious country that I just mentioned that was founded on Christian values. Most of those guys, if you study the guys who signed the Constitution, a great deal of them were ministers. Now they were not all shouting, jumping around, and full gospel people. I don't mean that, but in their mind, they had a God-centered mind because they said things about God in their words when they put them out.
Yeah, and when you're talking about how the focus is on, in the church, it is focused on those who can give more. it is focused on those who have money. And I remember when I was going to a Christian school, I had seen the teachers bending over backwards for those whose parents had money. And I got to tell you, something on the inside of me got a hold of me, and I was fed up, and I had it. And I will tell you what I did.
You should.
I probably shouldn't have. But you know what? I tell you what, they were nicer to me after this. I mean, they weren't mean to me at all, don't get me wrong. But I saw favoritism. I saw kids being treated special over those whose parents were not making a lot of money. Okay. Yeah. So I had it, and I stood up in front of the whole class, and there was about 50, 60 kids in this class, and I rebuked the teachers. I stood up and told every one of them, I don't remember everything that I said, but I rebuked them for treating the others who had money better than those who didn't. And then I went back to my seat.
I bet you were on her favorite list from there on out.
I want you to know. But you know what? I think that was the Spirit of God that rose up on the inside of me. Because I hope so. Because you know what? That got them to see things from another way. And I didn't see that anymore after I spoke up. Because, we're kids, and kids need to be treated the same because, that can take a toll on a child.
Sure. You got some examples you want to use?
I just gave one.
Of sin.
Oh, okay. Well, we're talking about a sin in the camp,
right? The
Whitehouse. So I'm going to take just a little bit of a turn, but I do want to add to what Earl was saying. The scripture here, 2 Corinthians 8:13.
Okay.
Now, this is talking about money. It's talking about giving in the church. But think of it like this, too. Because we have let's see. I have it written down. We've got billions of dollars going over into Ukraine from the Biden administration. They're asking Congress to approve $24 billion, which would bring a total of the United States aid to Ukraine up to $135 billion since the war began. That's a lot of money. Oh. Now, this scripture here, it's 2 Corinthians 8:13. For I mean not that other men be eased so that you are burdened. Okay? Mm-hmm. But by an equality that now at this time your abundance may be a supply for their want, that their abundance also may be a supply for your want, that there may be equality. Mm-hmm. There is no equality right now. Our country is suffering. But while we're giving billions of dollars over to Ukraine, we're suffering. We're giving so that others are at ease, but we're burdened here. Now, this is speaking against the Bible over this country, the United States of America. In God we trust. The Biden administration has nothing, they want nothing to do with God. They want nothing to do with good. Let me ask you this. This is something to really think about. This is some deep thinking here. Do you think that our votes really count? Or does the government appease us into thinking that they count? Do we really have a choice in who we vote for? Now, since Donald Trump, we haven't, but I want to bring this to your attention. I watched a documentary several years ago, And it was on President Kennedy, Bill Clinton, even Obama. When they were little boys, these boys, I don't remember everything about the document, but I remember this.
Yep.
They were pre-chosen. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
They were chosen to be the next president when they reached a certain age. They were already chosen by the elites that they were already being groomed for that leadership. They were already being groomed for the agenda that was already taking place. I believe at one time people did, get the choice. But maybe not since the 40s or 50s, maybe earlier than that. Now let's get into the climate control, the global warming. It's called geoengineering, used to describe the manipulation of weather to combat the effects of global warming. Now, they want you to think that they're doing this to make our climate better. But it's not. They're doing this to make it worse so that people can start believing in global warming. The elite, not the elites, the millennials, they didn't grow up in Earl's time. Earl has seen more weather changes than I have. I have seen more weather changes than the millennials. I've seen more weather changes than my children have. So therefore, in our eyes, nothing has changed. We get heat waves ever so often all throughout the decades. We get freezing cold weather throughout all the decades, not every year. And so they're taking this for the millennials to think that there is a global warming going on when there isn't. They're manipulating the weather. We have astronomical disasters, hurricanes that we've really never had before, that's destroying cities and states. This is, I believe, me personally, this is all manipulation from the elites. They're paying scientists to do the geoengineering to manipulate our weather so that and to manipulate people into thinking that we've got global warming going on. We've got some this is all, they're controlling the climate. They're causing these astronomical tornadoes, I believe, the hurricanes, the tsunamis, because why all of a sudden in these wildfires, they're destroying towns and cities for their agenda.
Have you ever noticed that when you have a disaster, what do they call it?
What do they call it?
An act of God.
Oh.
Now, in other words, when something terrible comes along and they don't have a name for it, even the insurance companies call it an act of God.
Uh-huh.
Okay? In other words, God is sitting up there manipulating the weather,
right?
And what they don't understand is over there where the fire came through. Mm-hmm. How many Christians do you think lived in that area,
exactly.
And they got burned up just like the rest of the people? And what God would just do that to those Christian people. Now, I'm sorry.
That's good,
I'm
Earl.
really sorry, but I do not buy into that. I've sold insurance all my life. I never did believe that things like that were created by God. He does. He can control the weather if he desires to. Mm-hmm. But things are. There's a lot of natural things that come along. Mm-hmm. We call it hurricane season, right? Mm-hmm. We have a hurricane season. Well, what is so new about that? We've had it ever since I've been here.
Exactly.
Listen, in June, about several years ago, maybe 6 or 7 years ago, the month of June, the weather in Tennessee, right where I lived, stayed over 100 and anywhere from 100, 105 degrees for days and days, and dried up everything. So nothing said about that. But you get 100-degree temperature here for a few days. Oh, it's global warming.
Lord, yes.
So this has been going on since the beginning of time. They're even talking now about creating places to melt the ice so that it looks like that the global warming is taking place.
Yeah.
They're putting heat in there. So I'm not saying that they're creating I'm just saying that there's a lot of manipulation going on.
Yes.
And it's all geared about one thing. It's geared about the elites getting in charge of everything. In other words, if they when we had the
It's
COVID
about
thing.
money.
Yeah.
It's about money.
Sure.
Because that money
and
isn't
power.
going to climate control.
Money is power.
That's going into their own agenda, their own plans. Go ahead, Earl. I'm sorry.
Well, it's been stuff like this has been going on ever since I've been here 88 years, and this has been going on ever since I've been here. We had
Proof, everybody. He's been here 88 years.
When you go up and they've got 10, 15, 20 feet of snow, go up there and tell those people this is global warming causing this.
Exactly.
And when the temperature drops in some
Which makes no sense.
below zero, that's global warming.
Yeah.
Okay. Global warming to me it'd be warmer, wouldn't it?
Exactly. It would melt the snow, wouldn't it?
I think so. I'm not sure, but
Hello.
I know when it snows around here, when the sun comes out, it melts.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
the temperature goes up.
Yeah. Okay, let me say
Sorry to
this.
cut in on you.
Well, guess what? Bill Gates admits
Yeah.
climate crisis narrative is a hoax. He admitted it. There is a website, www.forbes.com, 5 big lies about climate change and how researchers trained a machine to spot them. Isn't that interesting? I believe global warming and climate change has been invented or distorted for ideological or financial reasons. The Clintons are still campaigning. They got all of a sudden,
Obama.
and Obama, all of a sudden, they're out of the blue, especially the Clintons, are back now in the picture. They're back into the picture now, campaigning for global warming. Why? It amazes me. Yeah, money. It amazes me that they actually think people are going to listen to them after all their schemes and scams. I just don't get that. But people's lives, I'm going to tell you this. People's lives are not important. The Biden administration let me go to this. Okay. Let me get back here. Let me backtrack for a moment. Why are American taxpayers battling inflation and struggling to make ends meet while their money is subsidizing small businesses in Ukraine? Yes, they are. And these small businesses are not on the front lines, by the way. Not all of Ukraine is being destroyed. Does the leftists have a plan on making Ukraine? Now, this is me. This is my thinking. I can go into some, just stay with me here. They might sound crazy and off, and I might sound like I'm off my rocker, but just stay with me. Does the leftists plan on making Ukraine the new headquarters, the new world headquarters maybe for their agenda, the new country? Is this why all of us, there's this destruction all of a sudden? And I want to ask this. Earl, I want to ask you this. Did the war with Ukraine start right after COVID ended? Okay. I have a point.
And after Trump got out of office.
And after Trump got out of office.
Yep.
The Biden administration went full speed ahead. So is this why all of the destruction in Ukraine? And if so, what does this say about their leader, who is allowing this, pretending that he cares about his people? Pretending he truly cares about them. And accepting money from the United States, not from the United States, from the Biden administration, the evil administration. Now, I'm going to say this. No, I'll get to that in a second. No, I'm going to move on. People's lives are not important. The cost of losing lives are not important when it comes to the leftists, when it comes to the Biden administration. And I want to make this clear. This is not about the Democratic or the Republican parties. It's no longer about Democratic and Republican parties. They want you to think it is, but it's not. The Biden administration is not Democratic, and it is not, of course, Republican. We've got Democrats that are pulling out of that administration because it's representing evil and its destruction. This is about an administration that started way before the Clintons and maybe beyond the Kennedys, like I said earlier. They pretend to be Democratic. And they're giving the Democrats a bad name is what they're doing.
This doesn't even resemble the old Democrat Party.
No, it doesn't.
This is a progressive woke agenda that's not even related to.
Let's just call it the woke
Democrat.
party.
Yeah.
Let's just call it the woke party. This started with the elites, the big names who are behind all of this to suit their purpose. It doesn't suit our purpose. It's not for our benefit. It's not for the United States, and God is not in the picture. It's suiting their purpose, not our lives. Our lives do not matter to them, but we can be at peace.
Yeah.
We can be at peace with all this. Do you know why? Because of but God. He knows and he sees it all, and he has been revealing the truth, and he is continually revealing the truth. We have God, and because we have God, we're going to come out on top. Evil is not, and God has always won. God always wins. Remember that. He will never lose to the devil. He will never lose to evil. So, before I end anything, do you want to add? Do you have anything else to add?
Talking about Ukraine, okay? I had some other stuff here, but I want to get back to this. Talking about Ukraine, I pay attention to what I see. I see the Russians only occupying a minuscule. I'm talking about Ukraine is a huge country, big territory. The Russians are only down on the coast. They have not gained any ground to amount to anything since this war's been going on. This is, I don't know what, you do know that the guy who is the president of Ukraine is a movie star.
Yep.
Okay.
He's an actor, everybody.
Ronald Reagan was too. But what I'm saying is, I don't really trust him. Mm-hmm. I wish that they could win the war if that's the case, but it's not going to happen that way. It doesn't look like that at all. It's been going on now for over a year, and it's just back and forth. There's a reason why that they're keeping this war going on, and
I think some of it's distraction.
We could have pushed in there with the right amount of stuff in the very beginning. If we really wanted to win the war, okay, how many wars have we fought we had no intention of winning? Mm-hmm. We went to Korea. We had no intention of winning that war. We went to Vietnam. We had no intention of winning that war. We went to Afghanistan. We had no real intention of winning that war. We did win in Iraq, but look what happened. We pulled out. When we pulled out of Vietnam, they took it back over because the people on the other side that we were defending threw down their weapons the minute we pulled out. So we spent all of that money, 55,000 lives lost in Korea, for what? Have you ever heard of a war? Have you ever heard of a ball game? What would a ball game be like if we played football tomorrow and one side had a referee and rules and the other side had none? Now, who's going to win that battle? Okay, who's going to come out on top? Because if you've got to go by the rules and they don't, okay. So in Korea, we had what was called the 38th parallel. Okay, they could fly their planes from North Korea over into our side and just bomb the heck out of us. But we'd chase them back to the 38th parallel, turn around and come back. You can't go. One guy, Moshe Dayan, came over from Israel, brought him over and asked him what he would do to win the war.
Yeah.
He said, I would completely annihilate North Korea.
Yeah.
I would blow their capital off the map today. You've got the stuff right here to do it with. They didn't do anything.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, this war could go on and on and on. We could keep just funneling. As you was talking about the billions of dollars is going over there. Okay, when you've got people in the street in the United States that are homeless, okay, they have no place to go. You have veterans walking the streets in some of these big cities who don't have a house, but we're throwing billions of dollars to all over the world.
Yes.
Not just in one place.
Right.
Okay, so we've always had the wrong agenda when it comes to that. And I'm not the smartest guy and the smartest duck on the pond. I realize that, but I can see that war has not gone anywhere. I mean, I was looking the other day. The red part, if you look on your map when they show it, the red part is where the Russians are. The Russians are down on the shore, and the rest of that land is controlled by Ukraine. Okay, so it's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Right. So that's my little thought. Finish it up.
Okay. Well, we wanted to bring this to your attention again to keep everybody's minds open to what really is going on in this country. What is really going on with this evil administration that is in the White House. There's lies left and right, all the way around. Even the Speaker of the House, what is she called?
McCarthy?
The woman that
Oh,
speaks in front of everybody, answers questions. She's a
Nancy
good.
Pelosi.
No. No.
You're talking about the press secretary.
The press secretary, yes.
Oh, I can't pronounce that
Oh,
name.
Lord. She's good. I mean, she's, you watch her and I mean, lie.
Pants
Oh
on
my
fire.
gosh. So, anybody that tells lies and anybody that has no issue with telling lies, and this leader, they're not even, I can't call them leadership because they're not leaders. They're destroyers. So that's what they are.
She's told.
So, well, you know what? I couldn't have a job that and be told to lie. A lie is a lie. The money must be that important to her, or her face being out there. I'm sorry.
Both.
The attention, yeah.
Both.
The famous. I'm famous, and so me telling these lies are worth this position. Nope. I'm sorry. You're going to answer to God for that if you don't repent. So, but we want you all to have your minds opened, and we want your eyes to be open and your ears to always go with truth. Don't go with because you don't like this person, you don't like how they sound, you don't like how they talk. Listen, if they are going to move the country forward, if they're going to be a positive and if they're going to be positive for us, and if they're for us and positive for this country, that's who we need to go with. We cannot afford to make a decision based on, oh, I don't like him. I don't like that he says this. I don't like that it's not about that. It's about the goal. The goal is moving us forward. It's always been about moving us forward. Because people didn't like a certain president, Trump, they went and voted for Biden. Well, he's going to be better than Trump because I don't like that he said this and I don't like his attitude. Well, let me tell you something. We're paying for it now. You're paying for it now. I'm not paying for it now because you know what? The Lord is meeting my needs. I didn't vote for Biden. I voted for who I thought was going to lead our country the best way. But you all that had an attitude because you didn't like Trump said this on Twitter and he did that, you're listening too much to social media. You're listening too much to the news. Now they're the people on, I guess in the news stations, they're seeing now. They're seeing the price that everybody's paying, the price that they're paying for following the agenda. So with that said, everyone be at peace. Trust in God. Keep your focus on the things of God, not on the things that's going on in the world, not on the agenda of evil, but keep your eyes on God and how He's going to lead you to vote, not how you want to vote, not what you think is best, because what you thought was best, you were wrong. So keep your eyes on the Lord, keep your eyes on goodness and truth, and that will always lead us the right way and on the right path. So thank you all for listening in. We've gone over our time, and I apologize for that. But thank you for listening in, and we hope that it was beneficial and inspiring and will encourage you to walk in the light, be a light, go with truth. Truth is peace, and guess what? Peace is joy. And a special thanks to Amy Mann of Christian Television Network. We thank you, Amy. If you enjoy our podcast, we would love to hear from you, and please share us. Be sure to come back next week for our next discussion. Until then, this is Straight Shooters, straight talk concerning our Christian walk. God bless you all and have an awesome weekend.